In the intricate universe of comic books, details matter. These illustrated realms, populated by larger-than-life superheroes, are woven together by a tapestry of small details and hidden Easter eggs. And while loyal fans often pride themselves on finding these secrets, there's a new player in the hunt: artificial intelligence. AI is revolutionizing the way that we interpret and understand the comic book world by detecting those oh-so-subtle details that even the most eagle-eyed fans miss. Because AI can see the way that the broader universe comes together in ways that humans just never could. And not just that, AI can now generate the actual comic book panels, the storylines, or even reimagine forgotten characters or impossible crossovers. I've seen it colorize these old black and white manga comics, and even mimic the exact art styles of famous comic book artists. So let's explore everything artificial intelligence and everything comic book. How does AI decode these hidden marvels, pun intended, secretly hidden in the comics? Well, at its core, it's new AI image recognition technology. Humans are pretty good at finding patterns, visuals, edges, all of the kind of stuff that you need to understand what's happening in a comic book. AI can analyze not as well, but at lightning speed and way more data at the same time. Meaning overall, it can do some superhuman analysis of comic books. It can read thousands of comic book pages and then categorize and label all the details in a snap of a finger. From hidden background symbols to reoccurring motifs in a comic book character's outfit. It can go beyond simple identification of objects. And it can even deduce patterns, significance in the way we would say it, based on how these objects and symbols are laid throughout a comic book or how they might cross over between universes. And it won't forget the subtle details, the stuff that a human either might have missed or didn't stick into our long-term memory for recollection. Is AI better at identifying comic crossovers than you? Well, thanks to Mark Zuckerberg, even if you're an expert, probably. Because his company Meta just released the biggest open source computer vision model we have ever seen. It's called Dyno V2 and it's a completely open source computer vision model. And now that Meta's let Dyno V2, their computer vision superstar, out of the cage, and they've given it freedom to the open source Apache 2.0 world, comic book experts are enthusiastically building products to look through the vast data sets that they have of comic books. The goal? To find hidden details. Intricate insights they can exploit to be basically comic book king, you know, super nerd or whatever. Now the Dyno V2 model is trained on countless images, plus it comes with an additional 32,000 objects that you can use to kind of tweak the way that it sees the world. But more than that, because of the way it's kind of opened itself up, there's plans now to integrate it into things like large language models, stuff like ChatGPT. And that is quickly happening right now, and that's giving these brand new tools the ability to not just see the comic books, but to read the comic books and see them together just like us. Meaning it will start to make the connections between universes, between series, between characters that we have never experienced before. Imagine just asking it, what's something that even hardcore fans don't know about this comic book character? It should come back with these really subtle references to things that nobody had ever really thought about, at least never expressed on the internet in any sense. But of course, that's not the end of it. Artificial intelligence is also generating its own comics, and it's putting people like you in the driver's seat. So this is AI Comic Factory. You can spin up your own instance on Hugging Face if you want, or you can use this one if you're willing to wait for it. And we're gonna build a comic book page right now just to show you how simple it is. Now, I've been super obsessing about the Star Trek Strange New Worlds musical episode for some reason.
Why are we singing?
And I'm not saying that I recommend it. In fact, I don't recommend you watch it. I'm just telling you I'm obsessed with it, whether I like it or not.
Apology.
I really want to read a Klingon K-pop comic book. So let's do that. So we'll pick our style. I'm gonna go for American Modern, and we'll just prompt it, Klingons singing K-pop. Oh, we got our first panel. Oh, there goes another one. Come on, that looks sick. That looks like a real comic book artist. Klingons getting their groove on. Lead Klingon vocalist hits the high notes.
Why have you?
Why you only calling us when you got your drama?
How about honeybee superheroes looking for honey? Oh my gosh, look at that. But these bees are on a mission to find something sweeter. Dude, you gotta admit, that's a sick helmet on that chick. And like all these people at the park under this thing, maybe dumping honey on them. These bees look cool. Their search leads them to a hidden honeycomb filmed with dun dun dun. Next page. I'm really impressed. That's cool. Cat Superman? The Cat of Steel. Wow. And if you want a deeper dive into how to use this tool to kind of create more of a narrative, a storyline, and use something what's called the Marvel method, check out this video from Theoretical Media where he knows much more about the story creation process and how this tool can be utilized. And if that's not cool enough, now think about integrating the multiverse or characters that have never had their time in the spotlight. So if we go to ChatGPT and prompt it with this, give me a list of pathetic, barely noticeable comic book characters who have been almost entirely forgotten. You know, we get forgotten characters like Matter Eater Lad, a superhero who can digest any type of matter. Color Kid can change the color of any object. Infectious Lass, she secretes harmful microbes. The Red Bee, his main weapon, a trained bee? I have never heard of the Red Bee. This is perfect. Okay, I mean, it could be at least as cool as Ant-Man, right? Give me an awesome couple sentences. The Red Bee soared through the night skies of Superior City, his vibrant crimson wings leaving a trail of awe. Armed with the unparalleled loyalty of his trained bees and a deep sense of justice, boom, we breathe new life into a forgotten character. See, now it captures some of the storyline, like he's going through the night sky. Well, I don't really see all his loyal bees around him and stuff, but you can see where this is going. The Red Bee's gonna make a comeback, even if it's just fan fiction. Now, another cool thing that AI can do was demonstrated in this video by one of my favorite YouTubers called ByCloud. Now this video is a little bit old, but it shows the power of using artificial intelligence to put color back into black and white manga.
What did he say?
So you input a monochromatic, basically black and white manga page, and AI can paint everything based on a reference image. And you can use additional tools if like somehow you don't want that consistency or you want sort of specific colors. And you know this is all kind of moving towards large language models because we've seen color grading that can be done in future Adobe products that is done through natural language. I'm sure that will overlap with the comic book world too. But speaking about style, let's look at it from some of the creators' point of view too. But let's make sure to address the tension that comes from actual comic book artists who pour their heart and soul into this stuff and how they feel about these machines basically starting to replace them or at least like do what they used to do. And the best example of this I could imagine would be the story of Greg Rutkowski. He's world renowned for his unique sort of painted / comic book looking style. But the crazy thing is he became super notable when this whole text to image generation took off, and he was one of the most used artists that was added to prompts to get images in his style. I remember going through this phase when I was super obsessed with all of these tools, and I started learning about different artists just because now I needed to generate and I didn't know like what kind of style I even wanted to generate in. So it introduced me to all of these people, but the more I think about it, you know, from their point of view, they're not getting famous, they're getting ripped off. And he was not a big fan of people using his name, and it turned out that they used it more than even Picasso and Da Vinci. It was one of the most commonly used names. So Stable Diffusion, which is one of the models that was building these things, when they made their next upgrade, they actually removed all of Greg's stuff because, you know, they didn't want to get sued or they were just trying to like keep the peace or whatever, which I get, that's admirable. But then on the other hand, the open source community wanted that style so badly, they went out and created something called the LoRa, which is almost like a layer that you put on top of these models just to bring it all back. Now, it's not even clear that the LoRa used his exact content, but his style had now been generated so much that you can take those generations and now put them back into the system. And the more advanced AI systems are getting better and better at creating a style based off even a single image sometimes. So this clash between artists and AI is gonna become more and more relevant soon, but I think in the long run, unfortunately, artists are just not going to be able to win. It's just going to be too hard for them to control that and monetize it. And look, I have no doubt artificial intelligence is going to keep on marching down this path, the path of making these worlds more and more fleshed out, connected, and realistic, even to the point where it's eventually going to be like full VR, three-dimensional, one-of-a-kind story based around you as a personal person. It will just edge closer and closer to that, you know, Ready Player One world from the movie and the book. So for big comic book fans, the future's basically as bright as you want it to be. Honestly, the only concern about comic book worlds in the future is just the fact that people might accidentally invest so much of their time and life into it they'll regret it in the long run. Don't accidentally let comic book worlds consume your whole life. It's easy, okay? We all know it's easy. At least spend some of that time clicking that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, comic book fans. I'm out.